much for being here. Thank you for being here for our ceremony and for our tours. Like I said, it is not quite, we're kind of working our way through a construction zone until we get to the front entrance of our building. So just be careful of your step as we go, especially if you're in sandals. We try to clear as best we can today, but just watch your step if you're in sandals. So you guys have already heard all about the center, what it is, why we're doing it, how it's gonna work. Now I want to take you through and actually show you the spaces and how those spaces are going to be used, who's going to use them, and we have a couple little snapshots of what they're going to look like, the spaces are going to look like. This phase that we're in right now, we are currently fundraising the spaces and then equipping the spaces. And so you'll see there's like a couple little things equipped in there. We have some drawings of some of the stuff that's literally in a truck on its way here. And then you're gonna have to fill in the gaps with your imagination, okay? So I wanna walk you through today kind of as if you were coming to receive programs at the center. So we're actually gonna go to what's going to be the front entrance of the center and pause there, if you'll follow me. The door as long as you can hear me, but keep filing in so the people in the back get in here. Okay, we have just entered the front door of 12 Piedras, or 12 Stones, Center for Holistic Child Development. That door back there, that's going to be our entranceway. That gate, and so we're actually going to provide a transportation for a lot of the children's homes and people that we serve that don't have transportation. We'll have a system set up to be able to transport people, or if they have transportation, they'll come in that gate. Out front there, you got to really use your imagination with me here. That's going to be our parking area. And all around the building here at the center, we have a lot of ground that is planned to be area for physical activity and sport. Hannah mentioned this a little bit in her explanation of the center. But the physical area of development is one of our 5 areas that we really focus on, and we want kids to develop physically, to be strong and healthy. And that's really important, especially kids who have been through trauma. Their brains need extra physical activity to really grow and develop, even more than kids who have not been through trauma or neglect. But as a therapist and having studied exercise science before therapy, I am passionate about physical activity and exercise for anybody. However, those spaces are not just for exercise. It's not just a soccer field. It's not just basketball. This is a space where we can very intentionally bring mentors, coaches, trainers into people's lives. These are relational spaces. These are places where we can teach about Jesus Christ through learning to love our teammates, through learning to treat people right while we play. And so it's a place where we can have very intentional conversations and relationships as well as physical activity. So put on your imaginations with me real quick. Right past the parking area, we're going to have a splash pad. It's hot here, so water's really nice to splash and play. Our splash pad will be inclusive, and so it will have wheelchair accessible areas and areas for anybody, regardless of ability level, to play and have fun together. It'll be great for kids who are waiting for other kids to finish therapies and things like that. Just past that, out this window, will be a very large pool. It'll be for our swimming and aquatic programming. Fun fact is we live on the ocean and most of Mazatlan can't swim. So that's not safe, and so we really want to work on swimming lessons with our kids so that they can be safe when they do go to the beach. Also, again, it's a relational time to teach them how to swim and to have aquatic programming. Just past there will be another palapa. A palapa is the covering, like where we had our dedication. It'll be a little bit smaller than the Rancho Palapa, but again, just another space for people to have events and parties. Eventually, we won't have to borrow Rancho's space to have our own events. We'll have them here. And then just past that will be a fully enclosed therapy pool. Traders Point, y'all know all about that. I just got done working with Gabo, and well, we're still working on some details of designing that pool to break ground, hopefully by the end of the summer, on our therapy pool. So therapy pools have to be heated really warm, a lot warmer than normal pools. And so it's actually more economical to build a separate therapy pool, and it's going to be set up specifically for our PTs and OTs to work with kids in the water. It also has to be enclosed, so there's just extra specifications. It warrants an extra space. And then just past that, we were looking in between all those big tall poles. All those poles are around what's going to be our soccer field, and so that will be right out there. So we have to use our imaginations on the outside a little bit. But what we just came into here is our welcome and reception area. A lot of people call it a waiting room, and that's great, but if we call it a waiting room, we think, oh, we're just gonna sit here and wait. But the reality of waiting rooms, and I've learned this after working in several different therapy centers, is that the waiting room is where parents and caregivers come together and kind of form their own little support group. They get to talk through things that they're going through that are alike. They're facing the same situations. And so right here, there's going to be networking, there's going to be conversations about, hey, what did you do when your kid did yada yada? We can share resources and share advice. So I'm actually really excited about this space. And our receptionist that sits here is going to get to overhear all that and field lots of questions for us and witness that support and that networking that happens. We're going to come through here. This is a closet. Everybody needs closets. We're going to come to the left. Let everyone file in. You guys can all fill in. It's grown a little bit, and now this is our training center. We at Back to Back, we love to learn, and we love to share what we learn. So whatever it is that we know that's working, we want to give it away. We want to help and share with whoever needs to know, whether that's parents, caregivers, whether it's directly from the children's home. The government agency here is called the DEEF instead of the Child Protective. We do a lot of training with them. We want to bring in pastors who can speak. We want to bring in worship teams. We're going to be fully equipped for that. We can share information from whomever to whomever here in this space. We have a training team that focuses on trauma-competent care. They'll be able to use this space as well. And then those of us in the medical field are really excited about finally being able to So we're excited. We're still finishing up some last, windows, things like that. But we're actually looking pretty good in this training center. If you turn around and look through the windows or doorway behind you, you are looking into the kitchen. Again, if you were here before, you'll recognize that kitchen is the same one that Conchita used to cook for all the kids in. But now we're going to be able to feed the people that come to trainings. And so we'll be able to use the kitchen space for that. But it's actually so much more. We have a nutritionist who's already on staff, and we have some connections in the community with people who teach cooking classes. We want to be able to offer nutritional training for families to learn how to cook nutritious meals on a budget and make that work for their family. We want kids who are transitioning toward adulthood to be able to prepare their own meals, prepare their own food. If a child's grown up in a children's home, they've never even made themselves a snack, usually. And so how are they then going to go be independent? And so we want to be able to equip them and teach them those skills so that they can be independent as adults. And so whether it's a caregiver that needs to learn how to cook or whether it's a child, it will be fully inclusive as well. The reason our island is not in there right now is it's being cut down so that it's wheelchair accessible as well. And we want to be able to teach them how to cook in that space. If you can see up here through these windows, again, you're going to have to kind of put on your imaginations for a sec. Again, upstairs is our office, all of our offices. These ones with something weird in there, that's my window right there. But the offices we're still working on a little bit, but we are just excited about the people that God brings together to do this work. And so up there, Hannah and I will be, whoever ends up being director one day, will be up there. And then we have everyone in very intentionally kind of think tank style, everyone in one office together so that we can holistically come together and make these plans and carry out these plans in an interdisciplinary way. So our psychologists, our therapists, our spiritual mentors and pastors, our medical staff, whoever it might be, our social workers, we're all going to work together in those office spaces and make these plans, make things happen. So we're not going to go up there today, it's not quite done. But it's also really small up there for all of you people. As we pass, you'll recognize, again, if you've been here before, you'll recognize what used to be the front entrance. Now it's just a side entrance for traffic flow and things like that. But if you've been here before, that's a big deal. Like that's your opening, that's what you used to walk into. So I like to point it out. Also, if you've been here before, you remember the bathrooms, you remember smelling the bathrooms, the whole experience. It's changed, but we still have bathrooms right here. They don't work yet, so don't use them, please. All right, we're gonna file into this hallway. Kind of fill the space. Are you guys all still hearing okay? You're good? Yeah, big voice. Sorry. Okay, we're going to start by talking about these first two rooms. They are, again, staged a little bit of furniture. These two rooms are just kind of multi-purpose rooms. As you flow through, feel free to check them out. These two rooms are going to be quiet, welcoming, private spaces for conversation. Whether that be with our psychologist, who will be able to do, in this room, individual therapy one-on-one with folks, or in this room, group therapy or family counseling. Whether it be our spiritual counselors and disciplers, if they just need a quiet space. Our social workers will need to sit down with the families as we're reuniting families. And have these meetings and talk through hard things. So these two spaces are just going to be warm, welcoming, inviting spaces where people can sit and have those conversations. And we'll just kind of be sharing spaces because we're good at sharing here. As we go, again, I'm going to kind of talk through, and then as you file through, you can look at the spaces. As we go, we're going to enter now the area where our physical, occupational, and speech therapists are going to be working. There are several spaces in that. Can you all hear me still? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay. One space that I have worked so hard to try to have finished for today, and our stuff is literally driving around Mazatlan on a delivery truck, is our sensory room. So right in here, as you pass by, make sure you check out this room. It looks a little crazy right now, but around here, in our learning about trauma-competent care, one of the things that we make sure that we address in our children is their sensory needs. So I want to give you a real brief overview of what is sensory process, what am I even talking about. Sensory processing means that our brains at any given second are taking in information. We're taking in information about our environment around us through our 5 senses that everybody knows, right? We're also taking information about our own bodies, about whether or not we're moving, whether we're upright or laying down, how much pressure, what's touching me. We're taking in all this information and our brains are processing it, figuring it all out. Based on what we process and what our brains are understanding, we then act, or we then respond. We say things, we do things, we ignore things. I see that that person way back there is really far away from me. Therefore, I'm talking loud. I can do that because my brain is sensing all of that without me even thinking, and I just talk loud. And so that's normal sensory processing. But kids who have been through trauma, or kids who have disabilities, or anything that's affected how their brain functions, that process doesn't work the same. And so they have a really hard time acting or saying or doing things in what's considered a normal way because their brain is telling them different things about their environment than the rest of us are experiencing. So that's called a sensory processing disorder. This room helps kids with sensory processing disorders in 2 different ways. It helps in the short term when a kid is just completely in a meltdown mode or just really struggling or needs a place to calm down or to just kind of set themselves right. This is a short-term fix. We can bring them in there, and basically once this is done, this is going to be full of every sensation you can imagine. It's going to have lights and sounds and smells and tastes and vibration and movement and all these things. We're going to flood those brains with information, and it actually helps kids just calm down. On the long term, those of us who are professionals in the field can use a room like this to begin introducing things to kids' brains and helping fix that process, helping them to understand their world and tolerate different sensations that so far they can't handle. And so this is sort of a 2-purpose room, and we're excited to have it full soon. Literally, I checked the tracking on it this morning, and well, yesterday morning, the truck had picked up the stuff in Mazatlan, and it should be here. So tomorrow it's going to be full. This room here is going to be used by occupational and speech therapists. As you swing through, you can look. It's literally empty right now. So, but here in Mazatlan, the education is a little bit different. It's the same educational track that does PT, OT, and speech. So we have 3 different professionals in the States. Here, there's kind of 1 track of education, and so that's why we're sharing a lot of spaces. Sometimes it's the same person doing both things. But this room will be used for fine motor skills, for speech and language and communication skills, as well as feeding and swallowing skills. So we wanted a focused area where people can use games and toys to achieve communication, fine motor skills, food to work on chewing, swallowing, things like that. So that will all happen in this room here. I'm going to let you pass through, kind of trickle your way through and see all of the spaces. Then we're going to meet in this room right here.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be different too.
Multiple times this summer with groups of about 40. So, yeah, so okay. Yeah, absolutely. right, is everybody in? Everyone can hear and hear the echo. You can hear it 3 times if you don't catch it the first time. This room here, oh goodness, that's really echoey. Is this better? This room here is going to be our exercise gym. So we have a local gentleman who actually owns about 8 gyms all over Mazatlan and is expanding, or all over Mexico, sorry, he has 2 in Mazatlan, but all over Mexico has gyms and is still adding more. Local, really successful businessman. He has really caught the vision. He got to know Back to Back as just a friend and just developed this passion and love for our kids. So he actually donates 2 hours a week of his time of his gym and his trainers to teach the physical activity and the exercise classes to our school students already. And then we asked him, hey, can you come help us design a gym? Can you help us? Because we wanted to make an exercise area, 1 for exercise, for physical activity, 2 for people like me for physical therapy. I'm a physical therapist, by the way. For physical therapists or occupational therapists to work with some of the older kids that need less play-based therapy and more of a sports type setting. And then 3 for relational building through exercise. A lot of times kids are more likely to talk and open up, especially teenagers and teenage boys, to open up if you're exercising together instead of just sitting on the couch facing each other, right? That's intimidating. And so we want this space to be where we can work out together and just have those tough conversations in a safe place, in a place where people can open up. We also really, really want to involve dads. A lot of times in orphan care and in family care, we end up working with single moms and their kids and kind of neglecting dads. We want to pour into their lives as well. We want these men to be able to step up and be able to care for their families and kids. So what better space for dads to be able to connect with their kids than an exercise gym? So it's not obviously made yet, but this guy, Gus, I met with him, and he has designed and dreamed even bigger than what I thought we could fit in this space. And he has it all drawn up, and he's going to work on all of his local connections to locally source within businessmen in Mazatlan and fund and provide this room. And it will also be inclusive. We've got a bike that's inclusive of kids that are wheelchairs and things like that. So we're excited about this room. It's coming. All right, we're going to jump into the other half of the room. That's just the other door of the sensory room that we talked about.
Okay, question.
Oh, you have a question?
So you're going to put all those external air conditioning units on here, or?
When you see a little
hole
like
so
that, those are our air conditioning units. Yes, they're coming.
So I was about to say,
eventually.
do you have to bust out a piece of that?
Yeah, no, it's all prepped. It's all ready for AC units. It's just, we just had a few setbacks in construction and no longer have enough funds raised for the AC units. So we're back to the drawing board on fundraising for the ACs. But yeah, every room will be climate controlled. We're also working on trying to get some air purifiers. There's a thermoelectric plant not far from here, so we want to really make sure our air is pure. So we're working on for sure getting one in the sensory room and then growing from there. So it'll be all climate controlled and air purified.
Filtered water here too?
Yes, yeah. So we have water that's filtered for use, like for washing and things like that. That's all set. It's just not, hooked up yet. But and then we'll use drinking water. Mexicans, nobody drinks the water here. There's a system where trucks come and bring drinking water.
Right. I was thinking you may have a water purifying.
We don't have it quite that pure. Not ready to drink, but yes, ready to wash and bathe in. So it would actually be really weird for a Mexican if we got it purified to the point that the spigot was purified. They probably actually wouldn't trust it. It's just not a thing that happens here. So to be cultural sensitive and just fit within how Mazatlan works, the truck guy will bring the water that's potable. Yeah, so that's just how it works here. So. All right, we're gonna come into this room. So, okay, let me get in first. So this room is a little harder to imagine unless you've been in a pediatric therapy type look like. This is going to be our developmental, play-based therapy space. Our OTs and PTs really will be able to use it. Physical therapists work on gross motor skills, and so we'll be in here more potentially. Over in this corner where you're standing, it's going to be all matted. As you see in this little drawing, we have a swing. We're going to have several different types of therapy swings here. And Gus, the exercise guy that designed that, sent a guy to build us a rock wall. So we have a free rock wall, and we're really excited. He was like, one day he just contacted us out of the blue and was like, hey, I heard you're building a center. Do you want like a bouldering wall in there? And I was like, actually, I already had it in the design, know where it's going to go, and I had it on my list to fundraise for. So sure, we'll take one. And the next day, I could tell him exactly where we wanted it, and he sent a guy out and built it in one day. So we're really excited about that, and just about him and his connection with the kids. So over here, we'll also have a high-low, big-wide treatment table that we use as PTs. There's a carpenter, I think he made it. There's a local carpenter that's going to be building a staircase that's a custom staircase with a platform, with ramps and stairs and like nestling benches that go underneath. All of our climbing and walking upstairs, all those kind of skills. We wanted to have it all kind of tucked away and organized and use our space the best. So he's custom building it for us, and I'm meeting with him tomorrow to work on the design. So we're really excited about that. Well, I am at least, because I'm the therapist. And this, if you've been here before, just to reorient, we walked down the hallway that was the kids' bedrooms. This, up until this line on the ceiling, used to be actually the therapy space. If you walked in the therapy space before, you can imagine the little dark hole where Sitlali worked. We've got a little bit more for her to be able to work with now. We're actually going to pass through this door here. On your way by, make sure you look at the drawings, check out the spaces, and then we're going to filter into this hallway. I will warn you, this hallway has been a little bit taken over by the mosquitoes. We're working on it. Sorry. I've gone through so much rain this week. So we're going to file into the hallway and actually just spread out in all the spaces. Just kind of spread all over. I'll talk big, I promise. Okay, just not start the or just do it really bad. Just wait. And I'm taking on. I saw that, so I was waiting. Yeah, sorry. Come on in, file into all the spaces. File in, file in. This space is a little tighter, so everything's a little different. I'll show you. Just pick a spot, and we're going to have time, I promise, to wander. We're almost in. Usually it works best if I actually close this door. You can hear me better. And see me better. Okay. So, in this hallway, we always just have you come, even small groups, just come and pick a spot and listen well. I'm going to talk you through all the spaces and then give you about 5 minutes to just wander and look and roam, and I'll answer whatever questions you have, okay? So this is our medical and dental wing. This used to be the back hallway of bedrooms. The older boys were back here with their bedrooms. It looks a little different now. We actually have a family physician on staff, Dan Schumann, and he was the guy leading parking out there. He has been on staff since January of 2017, and he's a family physician, and his real big goal here has been to really centralize the medical care of these kids, bring together all the information, and help provide better medical care. So how are you in the medical area? Are you hearing me? Yeah, okay, good. So how medicine kind of works here is you pick a doctor and you go and they treat you, and they might hand you something handwritten about what happened, and then that's it. And then next time you get sick, you pick a doctor and you go, and you might pick the same one, you might not. And so they're not tracking your records. Like, it's your job to keep all those little handwritten notes and remember what you've had done. Imagine a child who rotates from children's home to children's home throughout their life. Nobody has any idea what's been done. There might be some records here and there, but it's actually really, really challenging for doctors to treat those kids because they don't know what they've had done. And so Dan has been thoroughly, over the last couple years, going around and forming a system within the kids that we work with of having a primary care provider, keeping documentation, and then bringing in specialists as needed, and centralizing the documentation, centralizing that care. Just bringing their care to a standard that we would want our own kids' care to be at. And so this clinic is going to really make that possible, really make that dream happen. We're going to have our own documentation system, our own system of guarding information and bringing kids in. So, in the back corner, again, like I said, I'm going to talk through the spaces and then send you to wander. In the back corner, well, there's a bathroom. That's good. The back corner there is our medical exam room. That room, cool story, actually, that room we had designed just basic, like, okay, we need an exam table, a desk, you know, in our plans for fundraising and equipping that space. We had our basic design down. Well, here recently, a couple months ago, a major medical provider came, and they said they wanted to partner and help. So they sent their CEO and this big team from their company, and they came, and they have caught this love and vision for the kids and this passion for the ministry. And they walked into that room and they said, "You guys are dreaming too small. There's no way. With all that space, you can have 2 bays, and you can have, we wanted the tables that get down low so that we can do wheelchair transfers on. We wanted a scale on the one table so we can weigh our kids, especially kids like Chewy. We wanted a table for babies, and they just took our dreams and blew them out of the water. And they said, actually, you need this, and you need this, and you need this, and do you want this too? And they sent us this list of what they're going to send for free this fall. They're sending all of our major medical and dental and therapy equipment. They're sending it down with guys to install it. And so we are so excited to have that coming, and it's like the Cadillac of equipment. We're really, really excited. So that'll be our medical 2-bay now, medical exam room, fully equipped there. Y'all are standing in our medical storage area, so our doctors and nurses will be able to use that counter space to be able to, you know, prep their meds and all the minor procedures, things like that, store medical supplies. Around the corner from that is our sterilization area, also provided. We have our sterilizer and everything for the dental area. Right next to that, we have our dental room. Each of these rooms also, there's a drawing of what it's going to look like. So as you wander, you should see the drawing, and I will be here to answer questions. The dental room is set up for 1 dentist at a time to be working. We actually already have a dentist on staff in Monterey who manages the dentistry there in Monterey and in Cancun. She's going to be managing this clinic just like she does the one in Cancun. So what she does is a couple times a year she comes and she cleans a kid's teeth. She figures out if there's problems, kind of like Dan does with his PCP work. She documents, she manages the dental care of the kids. Then she assesses and says, oh, we've got 3 kids that need an orthodontist, we've got 4 kids that need an endodontist. Next time I come, I'm going to bring orthodontist and endodontist. And she finds either locally here in Mazatlan or in Monterey to bring with her orthodontists or endodontists, for example, all the specialists. And they come and kind of brigade style every couple of months, treat all the kids that need that specialty. So this dental clinic will be set up and equipped for that. Down the line, sure, we'll need a full-time dentist, but she's actually going to manage up to 100 kids, she said, for us that way. So we'll be able to use that space. And this medical company said, oh, if you're going to be using whatever dentist comes, we'll give you a chair that can be right hand or left hand accessible. And we said, okay, cool. So that's all equipped as well. And so Danny, with so much talent, drew in the exact chairs that are coming from that company this fall. So take a moment. This obviously is just nurse's station to document, which everybody has a love-hate relationship with documentation, but at least we have a comfy spot to do it. I'm going to be right here. If you have questions or anything like that, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to wander around, check out all the spaces, look at those drawings that Danny drew us, and then we will reconvene. Okay?
Is this like a refrigerator bay, or is this going to be
that'll be like our crash cart and like the height weight. So when kids are coming in, the nurse can like do the initial height weight, basic check, and then
I could get my teeth cleaned in here. Enjoying that.
I don't think I ever enjoyed getting my teeth cleaned, but yeah, I guess it is a right-left thing. I didn't know that.
Okay. Yes, there are caretakers there 24/7, but they rotate right now. So at lunch, they are moving toward family side chair.
Tristan, check out the mirror.
Are my English-speaking tour folks finished? Yes. Adam, are they all out of that room? Well, I mean, if you want to come. All right. We're going to head straight that way. Just follow me. Yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to follow this way. We're going to get out of the heat, back in the trees.
What he does?
So sad.
cancer? He's battled it a couple times.
Just a little. Is where we made the fruit salad with the huge knives for you to. Oh, yeah. I'm just like.
Yeah, they came to me late. I was like,
Where we had the tacos, and I was like, I'm literally like in the middle of
okay, do we have everybody? Yeah? We have everybody? No, I see people. Waiting on people to chat. Okay, come on through. They're admiring your beautiful paint. They literally are admiring your beautiful paint. Thank you for painting that closet. Okay, out here we are getting to some spaces that aren't really quite finished yet, but we're actually using still, which is why we haven't started construction. This space here we call our Escuelita, the little school. So as Hannah was listing those 5 areas of development that we meet, one of those key areas is education. Like she said, we do have our own school right now that we're running for our HOPE program students. If you don't know what the HOPE program is, It's basically a program to work on getting our teenagers through school and transition toward adulthood. It's focused on education and transition toward independence. And so we have a school that we're currently running for those kids, and that we hope to eventually be referring kids from here into as well. Also the kids at Rancho de los Niños, you'll hear a little bit, some of you will hear a little bit more about that later in the week. They are talking about starting their own, also like a special education type school to meet the individualized needs of those kids that maybe one day will grow to where we can refer there as well. But some kids just need a little bit of extra support. They need educational help, like tutoring. We'd love to have a library. We would love to just be able to support and help those kids along a little bit, give them a boost. And so this will be the location of that. It will be like tutoring, library, all the educational support. Right now, the special educator from Rancho de los Niños is still using this space. So she's still providing special ed here. But then in the future, those programs will develop and grow. One more stop. Well, we normally stop there, but our tortilla lady moved there so that she could get out of the sun. So we're just gonna point from here. Where she is, through that big door, and in this area here, this patio here, is our vocational training center. So again, Hannah mentioned this, that actually way back when I got here, we did like a little assessment of the needs of all the people that we hope to serve. And that assessment showed that one of the key things that kids and caregivers needed was vocational skills. Skills to be able to get jobs, skills to be able to take care of their own house, their own car, whatever it might be that they need to take care of and maintain, but especially for employment. And so this space here is set up for teaching just that, to bring in welders, carpenters, mechanics, people to teach skills, especially to those teenagers that are progressing toward the job field. And maybe college isn't for them, but maybe they can learn to weld or something like that. As well as we look at family reunification. If they're struggling financially, maybe dad needs a job skill, maybe mom needs a job skill. So that's why we have the cooking classes, and that's also why we have this vocational training center here. And then you've seen the basketball court. We already walked past that. That's behind there. So